Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition, a Sunday night edition of the Crowded Booth. We're talking college football, week number 11 reaction show. As craziness in the week that we talked about last week, it didn't have a lot of pop in terms of the games to the casual observer, but all across the country, from east to west coast, you saw some fantastic games, a lot of fun stuff, and it's just the sport that we all love and some of us hate because it hurts us and it doesn't love us back. If you love a place, they're supposed to love you back. College football doesn't love a lot of people right now, but that's okay. At least you're close. What else am I missing? Shout out Brian Stoltz on the Credit Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
Happy Sunday evening. My name is Bryce Koon, alongside Ralph Leary and Will Manis. Well, I don't know why in the world you're wearing that shirt for our audio listeners. Repping the Falcons after, I don't know, man.
Well, it's because Auburn did not achieve their season goal last night of making a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
We're on.
They
to
still
the next
can, though, right?
They won't. They'll lose the last two games.
Just two more, so Auburn's on a bye week this week?
Yes. I think Mercer's going to go into Auburn and win.
Mercer has an elite offense, by the way. So that's something you got to kind of keep an eye on. And I might take Auburn to beat Alabama after what I watched on Saturday. So it can happen. It can. It might.
It won't.
We'll see. The Falcons are going to fail their season goal of making the playoffs.
I think the
leave
Falcons
them in Berlin, dude.
go into a season with no goals at all.
Other than to piss the fan base off? No, yeah, you're probably right about that. It is, yeah. And Dennis says they did achieve getting Cam Coleman a lot of money next year, no matter where he plays.
Cam Coleman did that in spite of.
He is unbelievable, dude. He is unbelievable. Like, it's actually ridiculous how unbelievable he is. Anything you want to lead off the show with about Auburn's offense? Did it surprise you with what they could do offensively without Hugh Freeze?
No, and cancel that first check because I'm sure it's already been written. Cancel it. Do not pay him a dime. That is for cause, because that is just it's egregious, inept. I mean, I need a thesaurus to use every word, because it takes every
domestic
word
terrorism.
The just patheticness. I'm making up words now. That's how bad it is. Just how pathetic it was, and then to come out and score 38. I mean, I think it's simply just when you have a plan, when you're organized, good things tend to happen.
Yeah. It's almost shocking that we have to say it like that. I didn't get to watch the whole game. I went back and watched the highlights. Unfortunately, in the press box in Tuscaloosa, they just turned the game off before kickoff, and they decided to throw on – what was the late-night ACC game?
Louisville and
not that one. Was it
Virginia
and Wake Forest? That's the one they decided to throw on. And I'm like,
I'm surprised they showed it at all.
Yeah, that's very
I'm
true.
surprised they have TVs in their press box. I'm surprised they have a press box, period.
Well, I'm not surprised because they have Slim Reaper standing in there.
One of the nicest I will say, that is one of the nicer stadiums in the SEC.
Stop.
I'm not saying it's a great environment.
They get glazed enough. Stop.
They do. Yeah, well, it is.
They don't make the press box tall enough for some people, apparently.
Yeah, shout out my coworker. Literally could not fit inside the press box.
If you can't fit in the press box, you should. Never mind.
He's covering the wrong sport.
I don't even know what sports you would cover in that sense. Like men's volleyball on the West Coast,
basketball.
Yeah,
just not down there. Not men's basketball down there.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is going back to the Auburn game. Well, look, will tell me, like, did Derek Nix was it totally, what was the biggest difference? Because I saw the stat line, right? Like Eric Singleton, Cam Coleman combined for like 245 yards, 2 touchdowns,
21
double-digit receptions. Like, what was so different?
There was organization. There was a plan.
A plan?
They stuck to the plan. They had a plan going into the game. They stuck to it. They ran plays that they've actually practiced. The play caller helped install these plays in practice. The play caller knew what plays had been practiced. It just shows just how inept and how just I can't even put into words because it doesn't make sense. Nobody that tries to do anything in life that wants to win does what Auburn did on the offensive side of the ball up until this point. Mm-hmm. Nobody that has ever wanted to win anything has never been their plan in the history of the universe. Anybody that actually wants to win has never tried to do that.
I'm telling you, that's why I think they can beat Alabama. I'm not saying they will.
They'll give up 60 points.
Well, if they can run the ball, they can beat Alabama probably.
No. Will, did you watch the Alabama LSU game?
Nope.
Okay, then that's why you don't think they could win.
It wasn't pretty. It really wasn't.
Alabama is not going to overlook Auburn. And anyway, it's I said it during the Auburn game. It's the interim bump. The interim bump is the most powerful thing, the most powerful intangible in the history of sports.
Yeah.
Alabama thought LSU was dead. LSU came in, punched him in the mouth, and they staggered.
No, LSU didn't punch anybody. Well, except for Garrett Nussmeier. They punched their own quarterback in the mouth. Yeah. No, Alabama seriously struggled. What is that?
They were probably preparing for Oklahoma.
Maybe.
It wasn't a pretty game, honestly. The moments I watched from that game and coming back in my living room after a while and seeing that Van Buren was out there, I just knew it was completely over for them.
It got better when Van Buren got in the game.
I know. I'm saying a lot of those players probably were like, well, our quarterback just got benched, so do we, give up on our 3-year starter or 2-year starter, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get in trouble if I answer that question, so I'm not going to say that publicly.
I won't make you.
Because that is 110% not what they thought. But anyways, welcome in, subscribe, like, hanging out with us. Let's start off with the SEC because this is a conversation for me. Look, Texas A&M and Georgia both took care of business this weekend. Georgia goes on the road, probably plays the cleanest game they've played. And I know it's against a Mississippi State team that's not very good. But Mississippi State, I would argue Mississippi State's one of the most, if not, they're probably the most improved SEC team year to year. They're one of the best. They're one of the most improved teams in what Jeff Lebby's doing. We've entered in back into we get Will for about 3 weeks out of the year. Outside of that, I don't know what takes over his body, but it's not. We get for 3 weeks out of the year we get it.
Anger, just anger,
just frustration, anger, disgust. Would be the word I would use for tonight. I shouldn't have let you lead off with Auburn. Maybe I should have shaved that towards the end. But no, in terms of who's the best in the SEC, Georgia. I thought Georgia did a good job in this game. Man, offensively they're clicking. Defensively, I felt like they weathered the attack of what Jeff Lebby then wanted to do. The pass rush was a little bit better in this game, just 8 sacks coming into this game. They tallied a couple. And they went on the road and won. And I think that was big in terms of this was a trap game for Georgia, right? You come off the emotional game against Florida. You've got Texas the next week. It's one of those where if you're not paying attention, Mississippi State has put up some points on some people. So I thought Georgia did a really good job taking care of business on the road in that environment. And then I go to Texas A&M where guys, I think everyone just keeps waiting. And we mentioned this last week. November has not been kind to the Aggies in recent history. This feels different. And I think I said this about week 3 or week 4. This Texas A&M team just feels a little bit different. They're 9-0 right now. They're the number 1 ranked team. We expect them to be obviously continue to be the number 1 ranked team when the playoff rankings come out on Tuesday in terms of the top ranked SEC team. And man, they play a word that's going to just kill LSU fans. They play probably some of the most complimentary football in the country outside of Ohio State and Indiana. I just think they do a great job of that. So when you look at who the best team in the SEC is right now, I'm going to say it's Texas A&M. If I sit here and say that Georgia is better than Alabama, well, they beat them. I understand that. I don't know. I'd be interested to see what a neutral field would be. And Will, maybe you can provide that with us for CFB graphs. I don't know, but I think that it's pretty. It'd be pretty interesting to see. So I guess I'll go. Will, you look that up, Ralph. When you look at the SEC, who's the team that's standing out? Maybe it is Texas A&M, just the way they're taking care of business right now.
Yeah, I fully believe it's A&M right now. Their defense is playing out of their mind right now. I know it was a true freshman quarterback from Missouri, and not an easy game to start. Home game obviously, but you're facing A&M, one of the best defenses in the country, against one of the best defensive minds in the country, and Mike Elka, and man, he came out there with a plan, and they let him have it too. I mean, only had 77 yards passing. I know that's not only on 22 attempts, but I mean, they didn't let him sit in the pocket very long. They gave up 210 rushing yards, obviously, to one of the best running backs in the country, and Ahmad Hardy, and Jamal Roberts also. But just seeing how well they're playing right now and how smooth this team looks offensively and defensively, like going forward, this team's a scary team to play.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, November has been kind of bad for them lately, but I think Mike Elko's got this team right where he wants it, and could be going forward, could be, no longer worried about November.
Yeah. Will, what we got there? So you just pulled it up.
I think Texas A&M has been pretty lucky this year. They've had, to this point, the easiest schedule in the SEC. They went on the road and played Notre Dame, and that was a shootout. The defense wasn't right. They did not play well against Auburn and found a way to win, and then played Mississippi State, Florida, Arkansas, and an interim coach, and found a way to win, gave up a ton of points. We know they massacred LSU, and then playing Missouri without their top quarterback. So their schedule's been easy. And I'm not saying this to really take anything away from them, because I still think they're a very, very, very good team. They're a national title contender. But let's relax. They've earned everything they've gotten, but they have been very beneficial. They've had an easy schedule. The situations of all the teams that they've played so far, yes, they found ways to win. You got to give them a ton of credit for that. But when if they play somebody at full strength, or they go on the road like that Texas game on Black Friday, that could spell trouble for Texas A&M, because it'll be similar to the Notre Dame environment. But yeah, I think that game is probably going to be very similar to that Notre Dame game they played. Thinking about what Notre Dame was when A&M played them at the time, what Texas is now, how Texas is rounded back into form. And if Texas can keep that up, it'll be a dangerous game. But my best in the SEC, I'm just accepting the inevitable, just because I'm so negative, just ready to bury myself and get the season over. Alabama, I think they're the best team. They beat Georgia on the road. Yeah, they didn't play well against LSU, but I think what they do offensively, how they play defensively, their aggressiveness on defense really sets them apart. They're one of the most efficient teams in the country. Good against the run, good against the pass. Ty Simpson is playing like a Heisman Trophy contender candidate. I think it's Alabama.
Yeah, I think the thing with me, Alabama, they had that run of 5 ranked wins in a row. That kicked off with the Georgia game, I believe. Alabama's been up there, and it's probably just because 24 hours ago I watched Ty Simpson look really shaky at home, and I watched him look not great. To your point, the one thing that LSU is going to be able to rely on the last 3 games of the season is the fact that they've got a pretty good defense, and they've got a first-round corner at one spot, and they've got a really, really good solid other 2 corners. And Blake Baker's going to dial up some intense pressure on that offensive line whenever they play. The thing for me with Alabama is they can't run the ball, and they really haven't been great at running the football. Their passing attack, if Simpson has time, probably the best in the country. Like, they will pick apart anybody. They struggle to run the ball against LSU. it's just something that hasn't been necessarily really clean. I think that's probably a bit of a frustration factor for them because, look, you got Parker Brailsford right there in the middle at center who came into the season, one of the top centers in the SEC. You also have Caden Proctor out there on the outside that actually got beat a couple of times in run blocking, which just absolutely shocked me with what I've watched at times out of LSU's run defense against teams that could run the football. But, yeah, I think that Alabama's right up there because the resume is pushing them ahead. When you get to Georgia and Ole Miss, I wonder. Let me ask you this: is Georgia about to start playing? Is Georgia about to hit their stride? That was one thing I saw on social media a lot after that game. And look, I know it's against Mississippi State; it is what it is. But Georgia has a game against Texas. If they go out there and they beat Texas, let's just say by 10+ points, double-digit win, does that change your mind? We'll go back to you, Will, on this. Does that move the barometer a little bit? I know we have to say in terms of a rankings, the head-to-head matters, but who you would take or who you would feel comfortable taking on the neutral field, does that change anything for you if they beat Texas by double digits at home? And I don't know what the spread is on that game. I haven't seen it yet.
No, it doesn't really do much for me because it's at home. It's a home game. Although it is a Sunday school environment, so it might mean a little bit more than. I don't know what the spread is either. I can tell you what the numbers say real quick. Georgia with a 67% win probability, projected to score 27.9 points. Texas projected to score 18 points. So no, because it's expected.
So spread is 6.5 right now. 6.5 point home favorites. You take the points right now?
Oh, right now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens on there. I think Georgia has an opportunity. They got Texas, then they're going to play Charlotte, who is horrible, and then Georgia Tech. I mean, it'll be interesting to see because then they're going to have to play in the SEC title game, which I think I wouldn't want to play in the SEC title game at this point if I'm a school. Just in terms, not because you get knocked out, just because what's the point of playing in that one? Go ahead. What you got?
What? Who are you talking to?
Oh, I thought you brought this up for a specific reason. You were just showing us.
Oh, no, it's just Alabama.
Yeah, it's that. So that's the Alabama-Georgia comparison right there. I mean, it'd be a fun one, man. I think I want to see the matchup again. I drew out a playoff essentially of where you would get Alabama and Georgia a rematch, I believe, in the semifinal or quarterfinal. I can't remember. But yeah, I guess, Ralph, for you, when you look at Georgia and Ole Miss, what do those teams need to do to jump into the Alabama A&M conversation, or can they do anything, I guess?
I mean, they're just hoping and praying that those teams in front of them lose. That's all you really can do in the situation. I mean, obviously A&M's got South Carolina and Texas left, but you're just really praying that one of these teams just falls in the coming weeks. But I mean, you really can't because Alabama's got Oklahoma at home. There's gonna be a lot of revenge factor in that game from last year and how that game turned out for them. I mean, Ole Miss and Georgia, they're sitting pretty because you're not really worried about the SEC championship game right now. I mean, you can only do so what you can only do for what yourself can do. You can only win so far. You've lost games you probably should have won, or thought you should have won. But if you're sitting at home right now and you're watching whoever plays in the SEC championship game, and you're sitting as a 5 or maybe a 4, maybe a 5 and 8 seed, maybe whatever they can put them at in that last week, they're fine with that. They're going to be hosting.
I think if you're Ole Miss, you're in the best position. You got obviously coming up this weekend, you got Florida at home, the bye week, and then you have the Egg Bowl. If you take care of business, you're going to be 11-1 with your only blemish being an 8-point loss on the road to Georgia. I mean, that's and Dennis says it right here. He says Ole Miss is probably hoping they're 11-1 do not make the SEC championship game. Buddy, because you're probably sitting in that 5, 6, 7 seed conversation you're going to host with extra rest. So I do like that. I do think that could be a potentially really good spot to sit in. But coming out of the weekend, to me, I like A&M a lot. We've obviously got to kind of see, like Will said, if you go on the road to Texas and you lay an egg, that's going to change a lot of things because then, like Will said, the conversation around your true strength of schedule within the SEC is going to come into play. It's like, okay, so who are you? And there's going to be a lot of questions surrounding, who you really are in terms of, I don't want to say this as a playoff team. Like that's, you don't, not that they're going to back into the playoffs, but you are essentially saying, okay, what is our identity? We think we're a pretty good team. We've won some tough games, but we played someone who's playing well at the time, or like Will said, more of a complete team, whether it's coaching or injuries, kind of faltered. Texas is also an interesting team to talk about in this conversation because I think people just kind of forget like they have 2 losses, right? But they've got the one bad loss to Florida.
Why are we talking about them? They're out.
If they win out, then they're fine. Like if they were to win.
They're going to lose to Georgia. They're going to lose to A&M. It's all going to take care of itself.
Oh, it probably will. Well, and then if that's so there you go.
I don't talk about 2 lost teams. I'll talk about 6 lost teams though.
Oh God. I don't know if we're ready for that right now.
Yeah. So
do we want to look at this one for fun? Do we want to go down this road?
Oh no. I don't think we should do that one yet. We should save that one for another week.
Boom.
Oh Lord.
Neutral site, which Mercedes-Benz Stadium is supposed to be. Georgia hypothetical. Another hypothetical win for the SEC. Georgia projected 31 points. Georgia Tech 20. Georgia with a 68.9% win probability. Just for fun.
Just fun. All right. This is a true comment. Texas and Oklahoma feel like they're in holding spots. Oklahoma is definitely in this like weird holding spell where just kind of waiting. It feels like for the inevitable. All right, let's talk ACC here, guys. I don't
know what this conference.
I don't know what this is.
Morning, that no one wants to make the playoffs in this conference.
Well, only one team is.
Yeah,
it is. This is a one bid league. I mean, this is. I don't even know. I just don't know, man. This is absolutely crazy to me. When you look at this and you look at the ACC, what happened on Saturday in terms of Louisville and Virginia getting upset has now put teams in a position where you had some work to do, and now you've got the clear path, right? Georgia Tech sitting there with 1 loss. They win the next 2, they're in. They're going to Charlotte. SMU is now in a conversation where, hey, we've got this many non-conference losses. We only have the 1 conference loss. Now they play Louisville next weekend, not this upcoming weekend, but next weekend for a de facto playoff game to get in. So one of those 2 teams will officially be eliminated from the race on the 22nd. And then after that, which is kind of weird, SMU's got to go to Cal the next week, which I don't think anyone wants to go to Cal right now and play. So it's just one of those things. I don't know. I mean, you try to make sense of this. I was having a conversation with some of the LSU media members at lunch on Sunday or Saturday, and we were talking about the ACC, and we were writing out on a napkin in the restaurant. And I was just kind of like, I don't know at this point, I don't know what team gets in as an at-large bid. We talked about this last week. To me, it's Miami. Like Miami's the only team that gets in as an at-large bid at this point because Georgia Tech has to win out to make the playoff, in my opinion. I think an 11-2 Tech has a problem because you just don't have enough quality wins. Miami is going to have that win over Notre Dame. As long as Notre Dame keeps winning and is in the playoff, they're going to have that. And how do you measure Georgia Tech versus Miami in a playoff conversation if they didn't play each other? Like if both teams have 2 losses, but one team's loss came in the conference title game, I don't know. I don't think it should count against them, but I'm not betting on anything. It's why the playoff rankings on Tuesday are going to be very, very important. So, Will, I'll go to you on this. How do you make sense of this conference? What did this past weekend tell you other than the fact that this is complete and utter chaos?
I have no idea. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 1 loss in the conference. 2 more teams with 2 losses. So that's 7 teams that could make the conference championship game with 3 games to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. And we're trying to talk about at-large bids. I don't think the ACC gets an at-large bid, right? and the ACC team might be the 12 seed. I mean, the way this whole thing could shake out, which would be crazy. I mean, could Tulane end up the 11 seed ahead of the ACC champion? That would be crazy.
Could the ACC miss the whole thing?
Oh boy.
Yes. Like I'm being serious about that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to go here. If Duke wins this thing, and Will, you said this last week. You joked about it. Well, the first domino has fallen. Are we right? They lost to UConn. If Duke goes 9-8-4, wins the conference title game at 9-4, and you got 12-1 James Madison sitting there, there's two things that are going to happen. And I put this in the Discord earlier this weekend. If they put Duke in, if I'm the group of five, I'm just done. Like I'm saying, this is stupid. There's no point in us competing. If you're going to tell me that 3 losses for us makes up one for them, like that's completely like there's a 3-loss differential in terms of the gap you're saying there is. That's stupid. You can't do that. And so I'm not saying the ACC shouldn't make it, but good God, if that scenario plays out, you're going to set a precedent either way. You're either going to say, hey, we're willing to let out or not allow a Power 4 champion, or we're going to give a massive middle finger to the group of 5, and I think maybe start the ball rolling on a true G5 playoff from then on out, because I don't know what the point of it would be. So it is and then, hey, look, Dr. Bob says this. Here's the thing. What if it comes down to these 2 teams somehow? It won't, because Tulane's going to have a better strength of schedule than James Madison or the Mountain West champion, which has like 4 teams that have like 8 or 9 wins right now, it feels like. So I don't know, man. I can just go back to you, Will. Sorry, I wanted to talk about that because this is crazy. Like I do think the case of a automatic bid for them, it's getting ugly.
Yeah, it's getting ugly, and I think the fact that we're saying Georgia Tech has to win the ACC to have a chance. I think it's showing that you do need to go outside of the conference, try to schedule a power conference opponent. Mm-hmm. I mean, and Georgia Tech did that. Unfortunately, Colorado is one of the worst teams in the Power 4 this year. I mean, they are very, very bad. But you look at these other teams at the top of the ACC, like Virginia. They didn't go outside of the conference. I mean, they played Washington State. They only beat them by 2.
Well, they were trying to play Indiana, but they canceled that game. Remember that? So,
yeah,
the game was canceled.
And they lost a non-conference game to North Carolina State. Pitt has not. Oh, they lost to West Virginia going outside the conference. Notre Dame, if that's out of the conference. But also, and I also understand that that's an ACC problem as a whole, that the ACC is really too competitive. Nobody in the Big Ten or the SEC really wants to play them, right? It's just these long-standing in-state rivalries that get that. And I think the fact that we're still talking about SMU maybe even having a chance, with 3 losses, they've got to win the ACC, right? But they went out of conference. They lose by 3 to Baylor. They lose to TCU, but by 9. They have the best out of conference, quote unquote. Competition. Louisville did not go outside the conference and play anybody. So the committee has shown that they value that. They value a hard schedule. Duke did go out and play Tulane, but they've lost too many games for an at-large spot. So it shows, but, like I say, also understand that it is a problem for the ACC as a whole. They are too good. Nobody from the SEC really wants to schedule them, although Auburn, for some reason, signed up to play Miami here in a couple years. Don't know why Auburn would do that. But as a whole, like the SEC and the Big Ten they're not wanting to go to the ACC and say, hey, let's schedule a home and home. That's not happening.
Well, the big thing is, too, before you do, Ralph, about this, is the selection committee's already instituted their initial ruling and their initial thoughts, right? They slotted 3 Big 12 teams above the top ACC team in Virginia last week, and they also put Notre Dame, who lost to Miami in the season opener, that head-to-head. Both those teams have the same record. They were 8 spots behind them in that opening playoff ranking. it's showing us that the committee is not impressed with the ACC. And so when your top two perceived teams, or two of your top teams, have what we would consider, I guess, a bad loss, I don't think the ACC did anything to help themselves. Look, Virginia's strength of schedule entering the Wake Forest game was 85th. Georgia Tech's was 84th. Louisville is 56th. Miami had the best strength of schedule in the country at 28th. It's just, man, I just don't know what metric you're going to look at the end of the season. If the conference title team gets in, the winner gets in, I don't know what metric you're going to be able to tell me, because that's when you're going to see a 2-loss team, a team with the same record, get in over a Georgia Tech or a Miami or a team with 3 losses. I mean, that because that's where it's going to come from. I just don't know what metrics is going to push that at-large bid over the top, I guess. So, Ralph, you got it.
Yeah, I mean, I said it earlier. This conference does not want to have a playoff team. I mean, I'm not saying that someone should obviously forfeit a game to let the team let them get in, but it's just like the top half of this conference really, for about 3 weeks looked really good. We said Virginia was a pretty solid team, and Georgia Tech was obviously having a good year, and and Pitt's kind of come onto them, probably brought themselves into back into play, and SMU obviously, and Louisville's been there the entire time. But man, the collapse this weekend had just wild. I mean, I went to bed thinking that Virginia was going to pull out a win against Wake Forest, and Wake Forest has been that team this year that kind of surprises you. Props to them, props to Jake Dickert and them. They're a solid team, actually. I wouldn't, if you told me beginning of the year that they were sitting at 6-3, I'd laughed at you.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't know what this conference can do. I mean, you'd have to be like Georgia Tech would have to, win out, have a win against Georgia, lose the conference championship game to maybe get an at-large bid.
Yeah, nothing is guaranteed for Georgia Tech unless you win out.
Right. And I mean, you have to win out the season and maybe lose to, let's say, I don't know who they would play. They win. I mean, I guess what, Virginia or Pitt, or no, it wouldn't be Pitt because they would lose to Tech. So it would be like Georgia Tech and Virginia, I guess, still.
Or SMU. Yeah.
Or SMU. But I'm saying, like, if does SMU play Virginia still?
No.
Okay, so if let's just say Virginia wins out and Georgia Tech wins out, Georgia Tech, Virginia wins the ACC conference. They're in. Georgia Tech, 11-2 with a win against Georgia. I mean, I guess you put them at 11. I can't confidently say though that they're the 11th best team in the country though.
Yeah, the problem is this weekend just didn't help you. It hurts you, in my opinion, with what you need. Now, here is a good point. I don't know who started this, but I'll put it on there. Pitt Notre Dame has huge significance. If Pitt beats Notre Dame, it opens the door for an at-large bid in the ACC. But then the conversation becomes when you compare that at-large bid for the ACC against another Big 12 team. You know what I'm saying? Like that's when I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's one of those things where we'll see what happens. College ball's nuts. Anything can happen. It can get really crazy. But just this weekend, in terms of what happened with the ACC, it didn't help you. It helped individual teams maybe have a leg up. But now you've got to be dang near perfect to be where you want to be. And some people like it like that. Other people don't. And some people just want to make a run, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we have got 3-4 weeks left of this thing, and we don't have a clue who's going to be in Charlotte right now. And that's crazy. So we'll see what happens. That Pitt Notre Dame game, though, I like it.
And just look through about half the SEC's future schedules. And there's only 2 teams scheduling ACC home and homes. That's Georgia and Alabama. So, Tripp says, I don't know. Half the conference is not signing up to do it. I'm trying to compliment the ACC and say that they're too good. The SEC and Big Ten don't want to play them, but that's still negative. Can't win.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk our big takeaways of the weekend. What do we like? What do we see? What was interesting? Right after this. Check out our friends over at Section 103. They do a fantastic job, obviously, with the polos that they have, with the gear there as well. Look, it's great stuff. And as we get into the winter months, a couple things for you. You need some warm weather gear if you're an LSU fan, Georgia Tech fan, Kennesaw State, or Georgia Southern. Meanwhile, hooty hoo, the Owls just keep on winning. But if you need that gear for the warmer, not for the warmer climate, but you need to be a little bit warmer, make sure you check out our friends over at Section 103. Use code TCB10 for 10% off your first order today. And also, the holiday shopping season is in full force. Go ahead and get it now so you don't have to worry about late shipping, and make sure that you have what you need. We appreciate them. It's a great brand. It's a great product. Continue to make that happen there as well. Here we go. Like it. Before we get back into it, obviously continue to check out MacArthur Woodworks. They do a fantastic job. I've shown you the board multiple times. It's being utilized right now. I don't have the hat behind me either because we're switching those out with our friends over at Cajun Cousins. They do a fantastic job. So make sure that you check them out. MacArthur Woodworks, a Georgia Tech grad, built his own business, stepped away from his full-time job, and continuing to do great stuff. From bookcases, charcuterie boards, whatever it is, make sure you check them out. It is quality products, and it's an easy gift for the holiday season that means a lot, not just the stuff off the Dollar Tree aisle. Don't do that. Please don't do that. All right, let's what do we like?
3 schools. Congratulations. 3 schools schedule home and home.
Lord of mercy.
All right, so weekend takeaways.
You want to talk about Indiana?
Well, it's up to each individual person to have a takeaway. So, weekend takeaways. Will, what stood out to you? I know we talked about the Auburn thing and obviously just how the fact that it was just mind-blowing what the offense did, and that is nuts. So maybe that is yours, and you can expound upon it more. But what stood out to you in terms of weekend that was crazy, especially that noon slate?
It's really just that Tulane is back in the driver's seat for that playoff spot for the G5. I said it last week. Everything else is going to take care of itself, and kind of went that way this weekend. I felt like there wasn't really anything surprising. Not really any results were all that surprising, at least that are relevant to the playoff, and by relevant meaning at large spots. Because like I've said, if you just win your games, you're going to get in. It's that simple and that complicated at the same time.
True. Winning and get in. Tulane. That game was nuts. Crazy Friday night game. Man, the American Conference race is crazy too to look at. I mean, South Florida's still alive. You have some eliminations games coming up here in the last 3 weeks. I texted y'all. I was like, dude, American Conference game could be kind of fun to go to in terms of who gets in, because you got some really, really great opportunities. I thought in that Tulane-Memphis game, I'll be really, I thought Memphis was going to come back. Brendan Lewis goes kind of down, gets banged up in the game, can't keep playing. Just crazy. Dennis says ECU is still alive. There's a lot of things going on. So we can take away. No, that G5 spot is very intriguing. And it's why, man, I would like to see a G5 playoff. I really would, because I think there's some fun teams at that level that deserve an opportunity to compete against each other in their own system. Ralph, what was your takeaway of the week? What'd you like?
Texas Tech's defense. I mean, they played outstanding against BYU. I was kind of really looking for their offense to kind of show up. It really never did during the game. It kind of stalemated the entire time offensively, but the defense for Texas Tech was outstanding. Shield Woods, obviously, probably one of getting up there to be one of the top defensive coordinators in college football right now. He had his guys ready to play. That environment was crazy. That's going to be a fun place for a playoff game to be hosted at this year. I feel like the Jones will be rocking, is what they say.
They, they were good. They just suffocated BYU. Like, BYU could not do anything offensively.
I'll say this, and I was watching this game with my dad, and I said I really didn't know how their BYU's freshman quarterback was going to play in this game, because tough environment to play on the road, obviously, and he played pretty well all year, pretty solid. He's not that really a big of a passer, more of a runner. I didn't realize how big he was. He's 265 playing quarterback. Looks like a linebacker / fullback out there. That's why he wears 47, and found that out there on Saturday. but defensively, they just kind of just wouldn't let them they wouldn't let them go downfield too much. They couldn't get any breakaway plays. They had that one drive right in the second half, I think, that kind of right in the beginning of the fourth quarter that kind of gave them a score. But other than that, dude, Texas Tech had them all game long. And I texted y'all about my Heisman picks. Jacob Rodriguez is up there. He's a captain of that defense. I mean, you go back. I know this the whole story of this guy was crazy with that Manti Te'o season, but this guy's having an insane season this year. Obviously, he's one of the best linebackers right now in college football, and I mean, why not put him in New York? We need some defensive players there once in a while, and a guy who can really be the best player on their defense, and that's him.
Texas Tech's fun. I saw some projections. What'd you say?
I didn't realize that Joey McGuire spent his entire time at Cedar Hill High School, went to Baylor for 2 or 3 years as a coach, and then got a Texas Tech coaching job. He coached, if you remember that QB1 show, with like Tate Martell that first season and Jake Fromm and all them. When Tate Martell went to play in Texas that game, that was against Joey McGuire. The game where he talked bad about Texas on Twitter and everything, and yeah, that was against Joey McGuire's team. I found that out.
My takeaway, I like Texas Tech a lot. I think that they looked really, really good. I mean, Indiana, Penn State was good God. The takeaway from that is, one, Indiana is just a well-coached football team. They didn't quit, kept playing. Kurt Cignetti knows what he's doing. But I think the biggest thing is, and this goes against something that I've been preaching all year long about how you're not who your record indicates you are. You're inside the locker room depends on who you are. And since talent on paper does matter, it has to perform. I get that. But I thought the comments from Penn State's quarterback postgame were really, really important because it kind of it shed some light into this idea that, hey, look, we're better than this. We've shown this. We're not. When you look at, and I don't even know what Penn State's record is. What are they? 4-6, 3-6. You look across, and you find a bunch of teams that are 3-6 across the country right now. We don't feel like that's who we are. Now, we haven't played like it, but it shows that any Saturday we can play up to that level. Now, obviously, Penn State has some deficiencies. The quarterback position isn't what they really wanted. Some of those wide receivers haven't panned out. The offense just hasn't been. But, hey, still got Nick Singleton back there and what he can do. That's a guy who's a top-level running back, top half running back in college football. And I think it just goes to show, like, any Saturday, these teams can pop up. And so as we get to the final couple weeks of this season, teams that maybe their season is down and out or they've fired a head coach. It's like what you saw at Penn State. It's what you saw at Florida last weekend against, Georgia. It's why I think there's an opportunity for Auburn to rise to the occasion against Alabama. It's why you saw LSU challenge, an Alabama team. These teams still have talent. The season may have gone haywire, may have gone awry, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're just packing it in. I thought that was kind of cool. Penn State kind of set that example. We'll see what other teams can play spoiler. Obviously, what was it? Wisconsin did that with, we talked out here, the other day, or I don't think it was you guys. I was talking the other day, like, Washington has like this outside chance if they win a big game or two in the stretch. Well, their season's over because Wisconsin, who Luke Fickell, it's just whatever.
They announced the other day that he's going to be back next year, which is
maybe
crazy.
That helped him win the game. Who knows? So it's interesting. It is interesting. All right, let's round it out with best bets recap. Let's talk about it.
Back-to-back weeks for me. I'm just getting killed by this. A 1.5 this week.
What was yours again, Ralph?
James minus 13.5. They won by 12.
Oh,
just tough, man. The bad thing is I wanted to take the over and it hit. That's what I should have went with. I felt I was more confident in that. 13.5 is a lot of points in Sunbelt games, and then looking back at it, should took Louisiana plus whatever the points they had against Texas State, because Texas State is garbage.
And they almost fought on the field too.
And Louisiana has a 13-0 record against them now, and they're gone.
Yeah. The Raging Cajuns
they're getting trolled heavily through Sunbelt schools this year with the Have Fun in the Pac-12 next year posters. Troy's done it. Arkansas State's doing it. Louisiana's done it, and I'm sure they'll get a few more. So
It sounds like
Spreadsheet said
jealous. They
Not
sound jealous.
Nah, we're good. Troy cannot go play anywhere else. They're fine. Conference USA is the next jump. That's it.
That's not true. The Conference USA is not a jump for the Sun
I'm
Belt.
saying that'd be the next one. That'd be as far as
American. That's the next logical jump for a Sun Belt school.
Well, for some good ones, Troy's teetering back and forth if they want to be good or not. So,
Will, what was yours this week?
I had to do 2 because I don't know how to read. It was Oregon
hand up situation.
minus 6.5.
Mm.
Yeah, Dan Lanning, welcome to the list. You can only score 18 against Iowa.
I didn't know they were playing this weekend.
That weather is awful.
But I did hit Jacksonville State minus 1.5 against UTEP. They're going bowling. Watch that name, Charles Kelly. He will be. I will almost guarantee he's going to be interviewed for the Auburn job.
Yes.
Yeah, it was
crazy. Against Grambling.
So I could get thrown over the bleacher.
Nuts.
That's wild.
So Will, we're pushing your Oregon one back to last week, so that's a loss for last week. But you split. You split essentially. I don't even know what I had. Coastal, but was it minus 6.5?
Whatever. Yeah.
They won, and I think they covered it because they won 40-27.
Yeah, they covered.
So I don't know what the spreadsheet is. You're going to resend to Dr. Bob. I don't know. I don't even know what our standings are.
You saw the play quarterback for Georgia State Saturday.
TJ Finley.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Finley went 177 yards, I believe, 16-26 touchdown interception. Dude, the best thing about Georgia State is Ted Hurst. That guy's a dude. Was at Valdosta State. Georgia State actually ponied up to keep him NIL-wise, and
crazy.
I wouldn't be surprised there's a changing of the guard in Atlanta there. Could there be multiple changing of the guards in Atlanta?
Oh, boy.
Is Morehouse looking to make a move? Clark Atlanta looking to change basketball coaches. Who knows? Who knows? Will, give me 3 names for the Auburn head coaching job coming out of this week. We did get some awesome intel on what the team wants.
What does the team want?
Durkin.
Megamind.
Durkin, Sumrall, and Charles Kelly.
You're really falling in love with Charles Kelly?
No, it's just what's happening.
Will is Will's realistic here. He knows what's going to happen. That's what
Charles Kelly played for Pat Dye. I know the people that are making these decisions. I know what these people want, and they are going to talk to him.
Yeah. He's doing a good job, though.
They
Respectfully,
probably encouraged him to leave so he could get some head coaching experience so he could come back as the head coach, even though he's 64 years old.
Why not? Why not? Why not, Charles?
Why not?
This is a guy who was on Colorado's staff 3 years ago.
Hey, and Jacksonville State's going to a bowl game, and Auburn's going to be sitting at home. So
maybe
it would be
Auburn's what, 4-6?
Yeah.
So they have to win out. Okay.
4-8. It's going to be the final record.
Which is what you said. Which is what you said multiple times.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that was like your official prediction, but off the record, off the podcast, you said multiple times 4-8.
You also said 3-9 because they won the first 3 games. He said they're not going to win the game the rest of the year. That was one part.
That's actually insane. They've only won 1 game since September.
Yep.
Yes.
And that was
Arkansas.
And
they didn't deserve to win it. They kicked 6 field goals.
And they've been in every single one of those games.
Don't say that. That's triggering. Don't say that.
If you flip every 1-score result for Auburn, they would be they have 2 losses, I think, and some Twitter account that tracks that had said Auburn would be like 9th or 10th in the.
Are you saying they're close?
No. Nobody cares about close.
Love that.
Close means nothing. I didn't mean to put that up there.
Yeah, the fighting that Bethune-Cookman fight was crazy. We appreciate you tuning in. Thanks so much for watching. As always, thanks for listening as well. We'll be talking to you again later this week, previewing week number 12 of college football. Big one in Athens, big one between Pitt and Notre Dame. Those games and more here on the Crowded Booth. Appreciate you watching. Ralph Leary, Will Menace, Gavin Hart in the background. My name is Bryce Koon. We'll catch you next time here on the Crowded Booth.